The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
Welcome back to another episode of Probably Podcast. This episode is very special. It's probably a pregnancy podcast. The alliteration is fantastic. I am sorry that this took me so long to get out to you guys, but a bitch is busy. A bitch is booked and busy. A bitch is pregnant. So it's just taking a second. So anyways, we are currently on tour. We are in a gorgeous hotel room in Washington, D.C. We're slowly losing light, so I'm gonna really not keep this short. So I actually already told Courtney this might end up having to be 2 episodes because you guys asked a lot of questions, a lot of the same questions. So you guys would be so proud of me. Like, I not only filtered these into a notes app, I also put them in order of how I thought it genuinely made sense to answer the questions. So in order of operations, we're gonna start with the most asked question. That is gonna be about my TTC journey. For those who are listening who don't know what that means, I didn't literally until I was trying, and then I was like, what the fuck is TTC? It means trying to conceive. Now, the number one question was, were you trying to conceive, or was this planned, or was this an accident, a happy accident, a miracle, all the things you want to call it. So, which is actually funny because my mom and my dad, not one single one of us 3 kids were planned, not a one. So, yeah, anyways, I absolutely was trying with my husband, James. That was the guy that I was trying with. And, yeah, we were trying since before the wedding. Now, I wasn't trying my damnedest. I wasn't doing the LH strips and being really, really on top of it. But we, we're just getting graphic here for a second. We stopped pulling out 2 months before the wedding because I was like, if it happens, it happens. Now, everyone told me be careful, because are you sure you'd want to be they did the math, 6 weeks pregnant at your wedding or 8 weeks pregnant on your honeymoon. And I was like, you guys, I'm fine. I don't care. I don't have to drink on my honeymoon. I don't have to drink at the wedding. The way I was so fucking dumb, the way you really just don't understand being pregnant until you are. You think you know, and I'm really not trying to be some whatever. You won't know until you know, but it is just one of those things in life that you don't get until you're physically in it. You can empathize with people, you can have sympathy, and you can have compassion to watch people go through it, but truly until it's happened to your body, you can't quite grasp it. So I was so timing is everything, and God's plan is everything, because the way I was kind of disappointed a couple times whenever I got my period. I got my period on our wedding 2 days before, I think, or maybe 2 days out, the day after, I don't remember. And I was like, oh, I was so sad, bummed. At least I wouldn't call it so sad, but I was bummed. Now I'm like, you would have been miserable. I look back at all my wedding photos and my honeymoon photos, and I drank so much wine. You can't even believe how much wine and Aperol spritz I had. And I'm so glad I did. So, yeah, I'm glad that the timing didn't work out for me then. But then we get into the times that I did try after that. Now, this was difficult for me because I didn't know how quickly or not quickly I would get pregnant. Everyone's different, I can say with confidence that we tried 6 or 7 times, I think. I think it was 6 months, 6 months in a row. So that's actively trying for 6 months, half a year. And I understand I need to be sensitive when I speak on this because some people try for much, much longer. Some people have some serious fertility issues. Some people, the list goes on and on and on. So I do want to issue a trigger warning if there is anyone who's worried about loss or conception. If this is going to trigger you, then, I'm offering you this moment now that just to tell you that I'm going to speak freely about my feelings with it all. And that was that I was extremely disappointed every time. And that was a question I got asked a lot. How did you manage being disappointed if you got a negative test? It was really hard for me. And Taylor, I confided in Taylor and talked to Taylor so much about it. I also talked to Claudia a lot just because we were trying kind of at the same time. We were on the same journey. I think she started before me, but regardless, we were in the thick of it together with the strips and the tests and all the things. And so I was really fortunate to have people I could talk to about it. But with Taylor, she's like, listen, it is, and Taylor gets a bad rep, I shouldn't say, but Taylor, you might roll your eyes oh my God, fertile myrtle over there. She's got 3 kids. But there was a time where Taylor was really trying for her second child, and went through a lot with that. So I was talking to her about it, and I was just oh my gosh, when you find out it's negative, it's so hard because let's say you tracked your ovulation and then you to have sex on the day that you think you're ovulating, or, you know, the week, those days, whatever it is. And then you have to wait the 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks to take a test to see if it's positive. And then you don't get a positive test, but you're still holding out hope. And then you don't miss your period, but I'm not the most regular person in the world. Like, my mom is the kind of person, like, I'm really airing her shit out here, but like, my mom's the kind of person that's like, I will start on Tuesday at 12 o'clock noon. And some people are just so fucking regular like that, and I'm not. So it really didn't help that I'd be like waiting for my period, and my app would be like, you might start your period tomorrow. And when I didn't, I'd be like, ooh, I might be pregnant. And then I would just get negative test. And I'd be like, oh. And then you have the people who are like reminding you, like, it could just like your, what's it called? I almost said THC. I know that's weed. Your HCG, which is the hormone inside of your body that starts to produce whenever you are pregnant. Your HCG could just be low, keep testing. And so like, then you get your period finally, and you're like, cool, I got my period. You're just upset. You're disappointed. You're like, all the things, you're frustrated. You're like, why can't I, do this thing that, women are literally created to do? That's annoying. I never really blamed my body. I never thought like I was at fault. And maybe that's because it was only 6 months for me. Maybe if it had been like a year or 2 years, I would have kind of gone down that dark path I know a lot of women do, where they're like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my body? La, la, la. I more so was just like, what am I doing wrong? I was convinced like, oh, I'm fucking it up somehow. Like, the strips aren't right. I'm not fucking on this right day. Like, we're not doing this right. We're not doing that right. And so that really ate me up. I'm like, how could I have messed this up? I kept saying to Taylor, I did everything right this time. I did everything right. And it's like, she would have to keep reminding me like, dude, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, having a baby is actually a miracle. Like, she would send me these videos, which were really helpful. I'm sure you can find one online. I'll try to find it and post it. It's like a video that breaks down just how insanely like crazy it is for a sperm to connect to an egg, like how much it has to go through to reach that egg. And she'd be like, it just didn't happen this time. Like, it just didn't get there this time. Like, you might have fucked exactly when you should have fucked. Like, I'm being so like not PC or like not politically correct, like what's the word I should be using, like proper terms, but like, fucking, like we was fucking on the exact day that I swear I knew this day, this levels, this. She's like, it doesn't matter. Like, sometimes it just doesn't happen. And I'm like, oh, you're right. So I really try to remind myself of that this is like a really crazy phenomenon. Yes, it happens every second of the day someone gets pregnant, but like, it's a really crazy phenomenon for it to happen. So I tried to give myself grace with that, but something that I said earlier that I didn't finish my sentence on was, classic me, was Taylor was kind of telling me like, she was empathizing with me on the wait time. I'm like, you wait all this time after you ovulate, then you have sex, and then you wait all this time to test, and then you wait all this time, and then you start your period, and you're like, God, I got to do it all over again. Now I have to wait the week and a half, 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever your cycle and schedule is until I ovulate again. And then you have to like, go team, it's time. Like, you got to do that for however long. And like, can we talk about how unsexy it is when you and your partner both know that you're trying to have sex and conceive, or you and your partner both know you're trying to conceive, and you're like trying to still keep things like fresh and exciting. Like, oh my God, fancy seeing you here. Like, this wasn't planned. Like, when we obviously know, like, we gotta have sex today. So like, there's that element about it that just does, like, of course, like every time we had sex, we enjoyed ourselves, but like, there's that element that's just like taken away from you, where you're like, oh man, like James and I have a very organic sex life. We're not at the point where we're like scheduling in sex for, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. So yeah, that was also just like an awkward aspect of it all. Like, in the beginning, it wasn't. In the beginning, it was like exciting and fun. I was like, trying for a baby. And then after like month 5, it got like, just like annoying. Not annoying, not having sex was annoying, but just like the lead up to be like, okay, how do I keep this fresh? How do I keep this like not fucking weird and everything's good? And he never made me feel weird, which is great. But yeah, a lot of people I know share their like ovulation information on the apps and stuff with their partners, so that their partner's aware too. So like, you can both kind of try to initiate, but I just thought that would just be like, wait, even more too much pressure. So I didn't do that. But yeah, so it was about 6 or 7 months, 6 or 7 times. I'd have to count how many times, and then I kind of lose track, because I'm like, we weren't technically really trying before the wedding anyways. And yeah, I started getting really frustrated, and I remember the number one thing everyone tells you, just stay calm, just don't be stressed. It's like, okay, well, I want to get pregnant and I'm not, and I'm doing everything right, so I'm stressed. And like, people telling you that is so annoying to me. It's like, if someone was depressed and they were like, don't be sad, it's like, also like I innately wasn't stressed. And so when people said that to me, I felt like the need to be like, I'm not stressed. And like, then I would like overcompensate and people would be like, well, yeah, you don't sound stressed. Like, okay. Like, but I actually wasn't stressed per se. I was just frustrated, which I guess might be like, a cousin to stressed. But it was like one of those things where that aspect of it, I don't know what to tell you about disappointment in waiting. Like, I will say real rich coming from a girl who's literally with child right now, but like you do realize a couple things. Now, I would have loved to be pregnant the first time I tried. That would have been great. But like, there is something different about trying and desiring something and then achieving it. It did feel different. It was fine. Like, like I'm not sure I would have had the same reaction and feeling inside. So maybe that was like, my purpose to like really feel what it feels like to wait and to want something so bad. Like I've wanted a child for, I would say I've been ready to have kids for like 4 years now. I met James 3 years ago. So it was really important to me, like wait for a partner and like wait for someone that I want to spend my life with and do it that way. But I've been so ready. So I think if I had gotten pregnant right off the bat the first time with James, I would have just been like, oh, and here's the next step. It would have been like, check, box checked, married, check, baby, check. So having this happen, like I'm in a way grateful because I got to see like it ain't always easy, and it'll prepare me when I have my next kid, because we want to have kids. I'm gonna try to, I mean, who knows, I literally haven't had this baby yet, but I want to hopefully have kids close to back, and that will keep me humble and keep me realistic about getting pregnant, because it doesn't happen like that. So for everyone, sometimes it does, and that's fantastic. I do not judge anyone that gets pregnant right off the bat. Like that's amazing for you. And again, I know that people would be like, I cannot believe she's saying this. It only took her 6 months, but we can save space for two things existing at once. And like those 6 months were like really upsetting to me that I just like couldn't get pregnant. And I will close out this segment of the question by saying a lot of people talk about how they hate, like I remember Claudia said this, like, and it's so true. Like when you tell someone you're pregnant and they're like, I knew it. It's like, okay, cool. Like, and I think the reason for that, if you've ever said that to a person, you're like, fuck, sorry, I said that. Like, I know you're just like, no, I've been so excited for you and you told us you were trying. So I was like thinking, and I haven't seen you drinking. And so like, I knew it. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, but it was like my really exciting news to share when you say that. It's kind of like you just like bloop, took it away from me. Like I already knew. And it's like, okay, well, I wanted to tell you and for you to be like, what? Because I was like, what? Like, so you be like, what? Like, that's what I wanted. So just like, I think that's why people get like annoyed when people are like, I knew it. It's like, well, there goes my fun surprise of telling you. When you're pregnant, there's nothing that you look more forward to than telling like your dearest friends and like your family. So yeah, I understand the element of like, shut up when people are like, knew it. It's like, okay, cool. Now I'll give a second one to that one. This one pissed me the fuck off. It really didn't piss me off, but it was just one of those ones where I definitely rolled my eyes. The people that say, and I'm really sorry if you're listening to this podcast and you said this to me, I know you did not mean it in any way, shape, or form, like with ill will, but like the people that say when we tell them like we're pregnant, they're like, well, that didn't take long. Well, look at you guys. That didn't take too long. It's like, correct, sure. If you're in your mind, you think we got married in September and now I'm pregnant. But you don't know anyone's story. You really don't. Like, you don't know that people have been trying for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. You don't know that like a girl has been crying and a girl has been like asking her husband, like, what can I do different? Like, what's wrong with like my, daily habits that are making this different? Like, you don't know what people go into. So like, it is like, it is a little like, when people are like, that didn't take long. It's like, you don't know how long it did or didn't take. And it is not a very nice thing to say when people are on their TTC journey. So maybe just be cognizant of how you respond. Really, the correct response when someone tells you you're pregnant is, oh my God, I'm so excited for you. You're so going to be such a good mom. I love you. This is so excited. Oh my God, how fun. Are you guys so excited? You're going to be the best mom ever. Like, just that. Just do one of those things, okay? Because like, you just never know how it's going to be received. Like, you just don't. So that one was annoying to me. Guys, I love talking about clothes, and Oster the Label is incredible. Like, they just have so many options. I've actually known about this brand for a really long time. So since 2012, Oster the Label has been dedicated to designing elevated and attainable clothing that has the power to transform really your everyday moments into memorable occasions. Now, you know me, I truly believe like the outfit makes the moment. That's just who I am. So what I love about Oster the Label is they drop almost 100 new styles every month, including cute tops, dresses, stylish sets, and fun skirts and bottoms. They really just have it all. Now, with wedding season coming up, guys,
Also, the label has the perfect look for every event on your calendar. They've got dresses for bridal showers, engagement parties, backyard weddings, black tie affairs, you name it. They literally have it all. And all dresses are under $250. Like, hello, all dresses under $250, sign me up. They also have a great collection of white dresses for brides. I know it can be like really daunting whenever you're a bride. I just went through this and you're like, okay, wait, I need something white, but I need some options. They have so many white dresses for brides that are looking for something for their pre-wedding celebrations, engagement parties, rehearsal dinners, even for the bachelorette weekend, the fun part. So also the label makes it easy to look good and feel good without breaking the bank. And I've recently started dabbling because they have a bump-friendly dress selection. So I've been looking at those because I don't have a big bump right now, but I know when I do, I'm going to want outfits on outfits on outfits, baby. So I love it so much. If you guys want to visit astrthelabel.com and use code probably at checkout for 15% off your order, that's ASTRTHELABEL.com and use code probably for 15% off your order.
Now, the other most asked question, which I literally cannot wait to get into this because it's actually so funny. And that is like how we found out when I took the test. Biggest question of them all. Why were you in the woods? Like, and this is all a really funny story. Also, we're in DC, so if you hear just a honking or sirens, just know it's a big city. I'm just a big city kind of girl. Like, you know, she's just a pregnant mom in the city. Anyways, okay, so basically, like I told you guys, we were trying and it was Christmas. So I'll give you guys all the details. I was ovulating before we left and also like when we were first arriving in London, like let's just please keep in mind that we were at his parents' house. Like nothing quite like ovulating at your in-laws. I love that. Seriously kill me. But yeah, so and also a question I got asked a lot, which I do not know the answer to, but I'm like, I feel like in a weird way I might know. People are like, do you know the day that you think you like conceived? Like, do you know the exact day and time you think you conceived? Because some people are like, I know that's when I got pregnant. And I low-key do feel like I know the day it was. And it was technically when we were still in America. So, you know, this is an American baby. She was conceived on American soil. No, I technically don't know because half of my ovulation week was in London at his parents' house. Okay, so anyways, it's Christmas celebration time. So we get there on the 19th of December and we are immediately diving into all the amazing fun things that his mom had planned for us. We just did it was so perfect. It was my first Christmas away from my family, which I think they knew was going to be like really hard for me, but also really exciting because, you know, first Christmas with James' family, first Christmas in London. Like, this is absolutely no shade to anyone that lives in like, I don't know, like Wisconsin, but like Wisconsin sounds like a really beautiful place to go for Christmas. Anyways, I wasn't just going to some like random city in some random town in America where I'm like, man, I miss my family. It was like really exciting to be in London. So we're in London and I am drinking. Okay. I'm drinking. This is a question I got asked a lot. Was all the Christmas drinking fake? No, no. I truly know that like, if you're trying to conceive and if you're trying, and by the way, if people ask if I drank while trying to conceive, yeah, like those 6 months that we were trying really hard, like I was drinking, not like getting white girl wasted on tequila, but y'all know that's not really how I live my life that much anymore anyways. So like, you know, I was just doing the norm. So, when I got to Christmas, I didn't stop drinking because I was like, either I am or am not pregnant. I did get to that point where I'm like, I'm going to stop living my life like walking on eggshells. Like I either am or I'm not pregnant. And if I am pregnant, I'm literally a week and a half pregnant or 3 days pregnant or 3 weeks pregnant. Like I can drink wine and you know, like have fun with my in-laws. So we did, and we had the best time. And then after Christmas, the day after Christmas was Boxing Day, they call it. Drank again. Actually, I probably drank the most the day after Christmas. Like a lot of wine. I actually have a really funny video of me like cheersing the camera and like chugging white wine. And then the following day was the 27th. Now, or maybe, yeah, the 27th of December, we go on a trip with James' parents and his brother and sister. It was so fun. We go to the countryside. And I think I might have even done like a recap podcast where I talked about this. But basically we go to the countryside in these beautiful like tree houses a few hours outside of London and the English countryside. It was just so fun. And that was around the time where I'm like, okay, I should start testing or, you know, like figuring this out. And this is what I will say about that. Okay. I would like to offer some advice. I would like to offer some advice to not do what I did. Okay. If I could give you any advice at all, it is do not follow in my footsteps with this. I was so excited and so impatient to find out if I was pregnant every month that I took these tests way before any of my HCG would be high enough to test. Now, I wasn't wasting money on like Clear Blues, but I was like taking pregnancy tests on those like strips. And by the way, the LH strips that I used and the app that I used with the LH strips, and if you're coming here because you heard Claudia say that I was talking about these strips and told her how to use them, it was an app called Premom, Premom. This is not sponsored. I literally just found them online and other friends told me about them. You can buy them off Amazon. You buy the LH strips and then you take a picture in the Premom app of the LH strip and it like precisely calculates your levels of LH. And your levels of LH are going to be what determines when you're ovulating, your peak, your low, your this, your that. So it's also, I guess, great for preventing pregnancy if you don't want to get pregnant. So anyways, use that app. And then I also got into using natural cycles in my Oura Ring and like, trying to track my basal body temperature with stuff. Now, I might have gone a little crazy with apps. Like I really got involved with a lot of apps and that was kind of like, okay, you're doing a lot here. But I got a little crazy with the apps. Like I was kind of like doing too much at times. But anyways, I was doing this all the time, every month. I was testing too early. And Taylor even said like, I don't blame you. I tested too early every time. Like, it's just like something you like want to do. But she was like, but if you are finding yourself getting upset by it, like maybe like wait until you miss your period. I'm like, wait till I miss my period. What are you nuts? Like what? No. And so I would test and I already kind of told you this, but I would get so disappointed every time. But then I would be like, well, maybe my HCG is not high enough. Maybe this, blah, blah, blah. So I told myself this month in December, I said, I am not testing early anymore. I told Taylor, I said, hold me accountable. I am not testing until I miss my period. Or if I have like a crazy symptom of pregnancy, like she had told me like your boobs feel like really heavy. Like they just feel like heavier. Your nipples start hurting. Like certain things that I was like, if I start feeling that, then I'll test, but I'm not going to test too early. So it's December 27th. That was way too early for me to test. But what do I do? We're in this cute little treehouse, James and I. We are in the bathroom. We're about to go to bed and literally about to go to bed. And I had told him, like, do not let me test too early. I don't want to test too early. I get so disappointed. He had said, like, you're just like fucking yourself up mentally. Like, it's a week and a half where you're testing that whole week and a half rather than just like missing your period or waiting for a symptom. And then it's you're testing every single day and just being so disappointed every day. Maybe like, maybe I'll make sure it's my morning pee and maybe my HCG levels will be higher than. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, cut it out. And I'm like, yeah, I need to cut it out. And Taylor's like, cut it out. I'm like, yeah, cut it out. So I don't cut it out because I'm me. And I test right before we go to bed. Now I test on one of these, like, I don't want to call them shitty pregnancy tests, but just for the sake of like you guys understanding what I'm talking about, they're the shitty pregnancy tests. They're like the tiny strips that are like actual strips, not like a plastic pregnancy test that has like the big piece on it that you pee on, like Clear Blue or First Response. It's not those. It's the like strips, because I was testing so often, I didn't want to keep spending all this money on those. And the strips show you the lines. And when you're testing early, you want to see if the line is faint. Like if you use a Clear Blue that says like pregnant or not pregnant, chances are it's not going to pick up until your HCG levels are pretty high. So I'm using these strips and I pee on one and it's developing. And I say to myself, no, you said you wouldn't do this. You said you wouldn't do this. We're not doing this. So I take it upon myself before it develops and before I look at it, I throw it in the trash can. And by the way, I'm doing all this like in the bathroom in this hotel room, like where James can't see me, because I know if he sees me doing this, he'll be like, Shannon, we said we weren't going to test too early now. So I put it in the trash can and I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, yeah. And you know what? I'm not going to look too early. Yeah. And I call Taylor and I tell her like what I did. I'm like, and I threw it away before it developed. And then she says to me, Shannon, if you want to test early, test early. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it is what it is. Like, if you want to see, then just test early. And I'm like, well, that's different than what you told me before. And she's like, I'm just saying, like, don't beat yourself up about it either way. And so I was like, okay. And so I hang up with her and I says to myself, oh, and don't get me fucking started on the amount of videos I have. 6 months worth of videos of me recording myself every time I read a test to be like, is this, because I want to get my reaction. And then it's always like negative. So like I was so over these videos, but I like refused to stop recording them every time I tested. So anyways, I get off the phone with Taylor. I'm like, well, she's right. If I want to test early, I should test early. I set my phone up with my little fucking sucker fish thing on the bathroom mirror. James probably has no idea what I'm doing in there. He's just like in bed, like reading or something. And Vicky and I were in a hotel. So like I'm close to the bedroom. I set up my phone to record. I record myself taking this test out of the trash. I say in the video, I need to pull up the video and I'll post it. I say in the video, like, There's never been something more desperate than this. Like I am pulling, I promised myself I wouldn't test early. So I threw the test away before it developed. And now I'm like, I'm reading the test. So I pulled the test out of the trash and I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3. I flip it to the camera. It's blank. I say to the camera, and now if you don't understand this Friends reference by the late, great Matthew Perry, Chandler Bing, it's actually not Chandler's quote. It's Joey's quote. It's the episode where Joey puts on all of Chandler's clothes at once. And he's like, he walks in and he's like, hey, I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes? Like, it's just like an iconic scene and it's really funny. Anyways, I flip it over to the camera and I look at the camera and I see that the test is negative and I go, hi, I'm Shannon. Could I be any less pregnant? And I like roll my eyes and James must have heard me say something and he goes, Bushy? What did you say? What are you doing? And as he says it, I'm like, fuck, he caught me. He's going to fucking be like, why are you testing early? You said you wouldn't. You're going to be upset again. So like, as he says that, I'm like, nothing. It's still recording. I'm looking at the test. I'm like, nothing. I just took a pregnancy test and it's extremely negative again. And you see me go like this and you hear James go, what? You said you wouldn't. Da, da, da. And as he's saying that, I'm looking at this test and I'm squinting and I'm pulling it closer to my face. And I am literally, I say in the video, I go, I am certifiably insane because I'm like, I swear I see a faint line. Like not, you guys, not a faint line. I see what looks like a shadow of some sort. I don't know how to explain it. Like I was like, cause this is a shitty strip. So like the strip is so skinny and so thin. And so I was like, actually, that's probably literally just what a line underneath the strip is if you develop it. Like I was just like, this isn't a line. I'll show you the video. There's nothing there. But my eyes, like I should seriously join the fucking like, not the Navy, the Air Force. I should join the Air Force. My fucking eyesight is precision. Cause I'm like, is that a line? I said, come in here, James. He comes in and I'm like, is this a line? And I'm like holding it up to the light. And then I'm convinced that that's just the line that's like built into the test that like one day would turn pink if you were actually pregnant. But for me, it's just like this really like tiny little shadow. He's like, baby, that's blank. And I'm like, right? And he's like, right. So I come up with a great idea. I say, well, I won't let it go is what it's not even a great idea. I just will not let it go. I say, you know what? I have one more of these little shitty strips. Would you pee on one? Because I want to see the difference in something that's what, because then I couldn't remember in my head, like, what does it look like when it's blank and peed on? Like, do they all just look like this when they're blank and peed on? That's just like the shadow of the urine on the line. And so I go, I know James isn't pregnant. I'm almost positive he's not. So I make my husband pee on one of the other strips because I wanted to compare the two.
Okay, I know you guys know I don't shy away from bathroom talk. I really try to keep it at a minimum, but one thing I'm not going to do is lie and say, like, it's not important. It's important, okay, to be regular, to not have issues with it, all right? And one thing that I love for this is seed. Now, I've been using my seed DS-01. It's an amazing symbiotic for a while now. I found out about it on Instagram, and then I started working with them, and then I was like, okay, this is actually, like, life-changing. It's so amazing. And mostly because one, it's just incredibly healthy for you to take. And then two, it's just helped me with anything bathroom related. It helps with a lot more stuff than just that. Like the DS-01 is formulated with 24 clinically and scientifically studied strands to support whole body benefits. And that's what they do. They really do take a whole body approach to this. And it's going to include gut health. That's what I'm talking about. Skin health, heart health, immune health, gut barrier integrity, and gut microbiome balance, and micronutrient synthesis. I sound like Bill Nye the Science Guy. And really just 2 capsules a day. So the DS-01 is incredible because, like I was saying, it's formulated with strands that are clinically validated to reduce abdominal bloating, which I don't suffer with bloating too much, but the intermittent constipation is what I really struggled with. So after 2 weeks, you can seriously see a difference. I am just really consistent with it, and it's just helped me out so much with my gut. It includes strands shown to support clearer, healthier looking skin, and that's going to happen in as little as 12 weeks. Okay, so that's amazing. Now, it's loved by their members, myself included. 92% of their members have recommended DS-01 to a friend or family member. That's me, myself, and I. I'm always telling people about Seed DS-01. I love it. And like I've shown success in my own life, it's shown to increase gut good gut health bacteria by 4.6 times. So that's over 400%. I just really, really appreciate the difference in my digestion and my daily regularity. I just feel lighter. Okay. I just like genuinely feel less weighed down and less like worried about all this sorts of things. And it just fits right into my daily routine. I just take the 2 pills a day. It's very easy. I take it on the road with me. They have a little travel container that you can use as well. It's just amazing. So get ahead of the new year with a routine that helps you now by going to seed.com/probably and use code probably to get 25% off your first month. That's 25% off your first month of Seed's DSO1 Daily Synbiotic at seed.com/probably, code probably.
He pees on it. It develops. I look at them side by side and I go, oh my God, that's not a shadow. Yours doesn't have the shadow. And he's like, Bishy, it's not a line. And I was like, I know it's not even a faint line. It's not even half of what a faint line would be. I'll show you all the video. You'll be like, bitch, what the fuck? But it gave me this little sliver of hope. Now, this little sliver of hope was like also so annoying because I was like, I've got to stop having hope. Like, this is what I do. I test too early. I have a sliver of hope and then I'm annoyed. So basically the next morning we wake up. I don't test, so I don't even use my morning pee, which I forgot to do. I was annoyed by that because they say you should use your morning pee. And then we're about to go to lunch with James's family at like on the property of this like really cool countryside hotel kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, I should test. And so I use an actual test, like the big, like the first response or whatever test that are like the plastic ones. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should test. And then right as I go to pee on the stick, in the bathroom, keep in mind, you guys, if this would have been positive, I would have like be filming myself. I would have been like, you know, coming up with a cute way to tell James, like videoing. Right as I pee on this stick, it's like housekeeping. And I'm like, oh shit. And James was like, oh shoot. And I think we had already turned them away earlier. And I was like, shit. And he's like, shit. He's like, whatever. We need to go to lunch anyways with my family. I'm like, true. So I stick the pregnancy test in my pocket. Now this property on this like really cool countryside estate type place, it's like the way you get to like the other parts of the property are by like little wood walks. Like you walk, like there's little trails through the woods that are like cute and well lit and like whatever. So you can get a golf cart from your treehouse to the property, but most people just walk and it's nice. So we were walking through the woods and I don't know, like 5 minutes into the walk, I was like, oh yeah, the test. So I pulled the test out and I look at it and I see a faint line. And it's like a true, like what people say, like a faint line is still a positive. And I know at that point, you can see in the video, my announcement video, I go like, I realized in that moment, I was like, oh, I go like this, I go, oh my gosh. And James is like, what? And I'm like, wait, I need to film this. And he's like, film what? And I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Then I get my phone out and I'm like, come over here. And he's like, okay, you talk about the shittiest fucking video ever. Like the cinematic ideas that I had for this moment and like the amount of times I videoed this so perfectly with like good lighting and like my phone propped up. And then this is what I get. I'm in the woods with James. We're like, hold on, let me film this. And I'm like, look. And then I'm like holding it selfie mode and we're in the woods. And he's like, why have you taken a test to come to the woods? And I'm like, I peed on it and then housekeeping came. He's like, let me see. And then that's the video you see on my Instagram where I was like, does that mean yes? Is it a faint line? And he's like, I don't know. I think we need to wait longer. And I'm like, no. And then it hits me like all the knowledge I have about this, like a faint line is a positive. Then guys, I'm like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. I'm actually pregnant. Oh my God. Then we have to go to lunch with his family. Then we walk through the doors 3 minutes later. James is like, relax. Like easy for him to say. Like, I'm like, okay. Oh yeah. So we sit down. I sit down. Everyone's like talking, chatting, whatever. I'm literally just like staring into the abyss. And I go, I have to go to the bathroom. And they were like, okay. I get up. I go to the bathroom. I sit in the bathroom. I'm looking around. I'm like, I am pregnant. No fucking way. I'm pregnant. I also was like, holy shit, I'm about to be in South Africa for a month. But I was like, wow. Oh man, first thing I thought was, how am I going to tell Taylor? Like so excited to tell her like the second. And then I got like this, which I will say a symptom I experienced. Everyone asked like any symptoms before to make you test? Like now, no, I was just testing literally as early as I could possibly test. But I did have a symptom before. And I would say that was emotional. Like, 2 days before I tested positive, like James and I got into like a little kind of like, I don't know, some like dumb little tiff. I like bawled my eyes out to the point where he was like, oh my God, like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just like that really upset me. Like I'm thinking back to the like argument, like it didn't really upset me. Like I just had this like rush of emotions. So like with that being said, I go to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm like, oh, how will I tell Taylor? How will I tell Taylor? And I'm videoing myself because finally I'm like, I should fucking video myself. I stick my little camera up and I'm like, I'm pregnant. Holy shit. And then I burst into tears and I go, Taylor should be here. Like, honestly, like, seriously, get a fucking grip. Like, I don't know, like, why is she literally my wife? I don't know. But I'm like, I had this emotion where I'm like, I should be home and Taylor should be here and I'm about to be in South Africa for a month. Anyways, I'm like, I shake it off. I talk to myself for like 2 minutes. I'm like, whew, you're pregnant. This is fucking crazy. This is fucking crazy. I like immediately sit down on my phone. I start like switching all my apps to like track a pregnancy. Like, oh, no longer trying to conceive, track a pregnancy. I start trying to figure out my due date. Like, I'm actually fucking crazy, bitch. Like, seriously, I'm crazy. So then James and I decide that night that I go back, I tell Taylor, it's so annoying because it's like the Wi-Fi, we're in tree houses, like the Wi-Fi was so glitchy. She's like, and it's like, oh my God, bless. Like the vision of me telling my best friend was not that. But anyways, it was still so sweet, so special. And she's like, when are you going to tell everyone? And I'm like, well, all of our families get together. James's family's coming in from London to stay with my family in Gilbert, South Carolina, in April. So I think it'd be so cool. I'm literally laughing at the idea of this. It'd be so cool. And I'll be pretty far along to like tell all of our families at once when we're all together in person, like whatever. Within, I think, 2 hours, I was like, James, that's fucking crazy. I'm not waiting until April to tell my mother that I'm pregnant. Like, I am not waiting until April. And he was like, you're right. So I was like, what are the chances that I would find out when we are with your family in London? We are very rarely with his family physically in London. Like, I know this is going to be controversial and I can speak on this because everyone talks about like, oh, you know, how long did you wait? Like I'm 8 weeks and I can't wait to tell everyone. I haven't told anyone. And there's this like preconceived notion. Taylor really helped me like break this wall down. And honestly, so did producer Courtney, God love her. She has a child. And I was like, you know, when should I say, or when should I not tell people? And she was like, it's up to you. And Taylor was like, it's up to you. Like, this like old school preconceived notion of like, wait until it's safe. Like, I do understand that for telling the masses, if you're like in the public eye or something like that, like I could understand how you wouldn't, you know, maybe you maybe want to wait till a certain point until the percentages go lower for like bad things happening. I kind of see that point, but like telling your friends and family, why can't you tell them when something great happened? Because if something bad did end up happening, wouldn't you want your friends and family to be there for you? I mean, just tell people that you also wouldn't mind knowing if you had a miscarriage, God forbid. Like, those are the people I told I was pregnant. The people that I was like, I would be fine talking to them. I wouldn't be annoyed if they kept checking in. Like, I would be like happy they were checking in. Like, those are the people I told. And we told James' family that night. It was so cute. You know, you see the video, we like set the camera up. We're like, cheers. James like, Shannon's pregnant. They were like, how long have you known? We were like, today. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, I know it's early, but like, when are we all together? And they were like, of course, this is the best news ever. Then I had this, like, I was very fixated on telling my family in person. Like, I was like, I have to tell my mom in person. Like, I have to have that moment in person. But then we were just like in South Africa. It was like a week later, we were in South Africa. And I was like, literally, you guys, I'm so close with my mom. Like, I was bursting at the seams. Like, the amount of times I just want to talk to her and tell her everything. Like, I just was like, I have to tell her. Like, I have to tell her. So it wasn't what we wanted to do, but like, we FaceTimed her. I was just like, I'm sorry. Like, I literally have to tell her. And it was still like the cutest, sweetest video ever. And like, I cannot imagine. I was like, when we get back from South Africa, I'll immediately drive to South Carolina. You guys, that would have been February. The fuck I look like driving? No. Like, Sharon K had to know. So I told her, and I'm really glad I did. And then we told like our friends, you know, and I wasn't like, oh, it's too early to tell them. I was like, I told my friends that I wanted to tell. I told Courtney like early, like I wanted people in my corner. So I chose to tell my friends and family pretty early on. So anyways, then yeah, we came back and then everything was good. Let me go back a second because I got this question a bunch of times. The post on Instagram that was like baby's first Boxing Day, I did know I was pregnant. Everyone was like, was that a mistake? It wasn't a mistake. Like, I wasn't like, oops, I meant to put that on my close friends. Like, no one but my mom and dad, Taylor and his mom and dad, knew I was pregnant at that point. I just say stuff like that, like baby's first world tour, baby's first, you know, DC hotel. Like, I just used that verbiage. And when I said that, everyone was like, baby? And then I was like, oh God, no. But like, I knew I was pregnant. So I was like, shit. So then I just was like, do you think that's how I would announce my pregnancy? Which that was true. Is that how I would announce my pregnancy? No. But I was like, fuck. But like, no, that wasn't like a mistake. Like, I just like used that verbiage, like, you know, baby's first Westin hotel. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just like what I say. So anyways, That was a funny question. Now, everyone asking what my due date is, how far along I am, I'm happy to share that with you. And I think it'll just like, kind of like how I wasn't sharing my exact wedding date, but I'm like, it's going to be pretty obvious when I get close enough to it. And I'll probably be like, my wedding's next week, my wedding's in 2 weeks, and then it's fine. But I don't want to like share my exact due date just because I don't even like, I've been watching a lot of stuff lately that was like, please stop getting hyper fixated on your due date. Like, love the date. It's a special date. It's exciting. It's fun. But like, 5% of women give birth on their due date. And it can like kind of like give you a lot of stress, like thinking like that day is coming, or if you have your baby early, if you have your baby late, like meh. So I'm trying to not hyper fixate on the due date. It isn't like, this is a fun way to say it. I can say that I'm in my second trimester, which is exciting. And I will say this, my baby is going to be a Virgo. Okay. So sometime around then, I don't foresee it being another zodiac sign. So yeah, sometime in between then, I'll have a Virgo baby, and I'm excited, and I'm trying not to put too much pressure on like the timeline of it all, because I have friends who gave birth to 3 of their children 3 weeks early, 2 weeks early, a week late, 2 days late. Like, I'm just not going to hyperfixate on it, but it's not me being like, I'm withholding my due date from you. I'm just trying to like, not like, really put a lot of pressure on it. But anyways, my little Virgo baby, I have announced the gender, by the way. I still get DMs every once in a while that's like, you just said she, is it a girl? I'm like, yeah, check my feed. Like, I already have said that. So the gender announcement was really exciting. Using the girls to tell us was so fun. My goddaughters, Walker and Lola, like Walker's at the age where she was just like, one, so excited to find out I was pregnant. Lola's at the age where she just keeps poking my belly button, thinking that like the baby's going to come out of my belly button. And she's like, is it time yet? Is it time yet? Taylor's like, every day she says, is the baby here yet? Is the baby here yet? And they're like, no, babe, not yet. So Walker literally loved the task of like being tasked with the gender. Like, that was just so cool. And I like loved them being able to kind of be a part of that. It was just really special. But I am having a girl, really excited. Any Virgo girls, holler at me. What are you guys like? What do I need to know? Does anyone raise any Virgo girls? What are they like? What do I need to know? Okay, now I do want to end the podcast on something that I will say I want to give like a serious trigger warning for, because I'm going to talk about miscarriage. I did not have a miscarriage, God willing, and I have not had one before, but I'm going to talk about miscarriage a lot and use that word a lot. So if it's triggering to you, I just want to give you the heads up. Okay, so I'm in my second trimester, right? And I'm feeling sick, and I can go into all those symptoms later about the first trimester and all that kind of stuff. But I want to talk about something that I've never really seen anyone talk about. And honestly, when people say this kind of shit, I'm like, what do you mean? No one talks about this. I see it everywhere. Like, people are like, people don't talk about how tired and sick you're going to be during the pregnancy. I'm like, yes, I do. Everyone says that. What do you mean? So I'm really not trying to be one of those bitches where I'm like, people don't talk about this. But I had to like find like the only thing that brought me comfort. This is fucking ironic. The only thing that brought me peace and comfort was finding articles on Reddit about like moms who are in their first trimester who are finding great anxiety of miscarriage. I would say it was something that I hyperfixated on. Taylor was like, you really are like worrying me. Like, why is it all you think about? It's all I thought about. It was all consuming. I think because I just like wanted a baby so badly. And then I say finally got pregnant. I know some people are like, you didn't try that long, but I finally got pregnant and I just wanted this child so badly. I really, really fixated on the idea of miscarrying and how much I didn't want to miscarry. At any given time during the day, if I was looking off into space or my eyes were closed, I was praying. I prayed so much. I talked to my Mimi so much. Like, I just was like begging anyone out there, my God, my Jesus, my Mimi, any angels watching over me, to help me keep this baby inside of me. Because I guess I tried to think about, why are you so fixated on this? Why? Also, like, honestly, manifestation cannot be real because I would have manifested it. That's how often I thought about it. Okay. I do believe in manifestation. I just don't think that was my journey, but I God willing, but I tried to think, why are you like this? And like I said, I wanted a baby so bad. I tried. I'm at a point in my life, I'm 31. I just really wanted this to work for me, and it did. And I wanted to keep it. I think being 31 and knowing so many of my friends who have had miscarriages, knowing so many people who have experienced not one, not two, multiple miscarriages, understanding how common they are, knowing that, like, seriously, it happens all the time. And like, women bringing more awareness to that is the most beautiful, great, amazing thing, so that people don't feel alone. But I think like the amount of awareness that's been brought to it just really, it's no one's fault but it's just a me thing, but like, it was on the forefront of my mind with everything. Like, you guys, I checked my underwear every single second of the day. I had I struggled with it a lot. And anytime I discharge anything, like today, I am literally like in my second trimester. I'm feeling healthy. I've gotten like a few healthy scans. The doctor says everything's great. We've gotten genetic testing back. That's great. Like everything back. And I today, like TMI, like I pulled my underwear down and was like, what's that? And I had no cramping and no blood, but like that is still where my brain goes. Like it's crazy. It's something that people don't talk about. And thank God I found these threads of these women who were like, it's all I thought about. It really gave me comfort. Like people were like, I cramped a lot in my first trimester. I had a lot of cramping. Ton. And I'm talking like period level cramping. I called my doctor multiple times and was like, I'd really like to come in. And I'm so that bitch that like does not like to bother anyone. Like, honestly, I could be hemorrhaging on the floor and I'm like, should I call the emergency line? Are they sure? Like, this really feels like it should be for emergencies only. Like, I'm not that girl. And I called my doctor, like, I really think I need to come in and get blood work done. I really want you guys to do a scan. Like, I know you said I have to wait for 8 weeks, but like, I cannot stop cramping. And I couldn't find, no one talks about that, like cramping so much in your first trimester. And obviously that's a symptom of miscarriage. Now, I never had any blood. So everyone's like, you don't have any blood, you're fine. But I found a lot of solace in these threads and these pages of people being like, I cramped so much. I never really heard of that symptom. Your doctors say it's normal, but like, don't they say everything's normal? You could grow a second head. They're like, that's normal. You're pregnant. Like, so I hate to say like the doctors didn't give me solace, like the nurse being like, that's normal. It was like the women gave me peace. Like they were like, I experienced this. And then I loved when they would say this. They'd be like, I'm now in my third trimester. Like, take a deep breath. Everything's okay. Like you're going to be okay. And so, yeah, that was, I would say, like before I started getting sick and extremely tired, I struggled with that a lot. I was Googling every single day. I was Googling 5 weeks and 3 days percentage of miscarriage, week by week percentages of miscarriage. Could you like asking ChatGPT, like how many weeks, what is the percentage of miscarriage at 9 weeks, at 10 weeks? And then every week I'd be like, I was just praying to get to my second trimester. Like actually I looked at Taylor the other day. I could have gotten a little emotional. I was like, I'm here. This is what I wanted so bad. And maybe that also comes with knowing I was pregnant at 3.5 weeks pregnant. Like I found out so early. Again, can't stress enough. My advice to you, wait until you miss a period because then you're further along than you think you are, then it's less time you have to wait and stress. And maybe you're like, I'm not going to stress about that. You're a fucking weirdo. But that was something that I really, really struggled with in the first trimester, just like hyper fixating on keeping the baby. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys because that was a dark kind of like place I went to during it all. And if you are someone that also struggled with that, like I'm here to tell you, like you got to take a deep breath and there's truly nothing we could do about it. Like if that horrible thing happens, it's because that baby was not viable inside of you. So I had to keep telling myself that, like, your body protects you, your babies protect you, everything happens. Like, not like everything happens for a reason, because like, fuck that. But like that happened because it needed to happen. So anyways, that didn't give me a lot of peace, but other women talking about how they felt this way and now they're in their third trimester or they just had their healthy baby last month and yay, like that brought me peace. Okay. So I actually think, like, sorry to end it on a dark note, but I need to make this a part 2. So I have some upcoming things that I can talk to you guys about, like, people were dying to know if I actually had a parasite in the norovirus or if that was pregnancy. And I have your answer. Also, when and how I got sick, like when this started happening where I was just like, ugh, because that's interesting. Things I'm eating and not eating, things I'm craving, my boobs. I have a lot to say about my boobs. If I wanted a boy or a girl, gender related things, and lifestyle changes for James and I before we were trying to conceive, after we were trying to conceive, prenatals, touring while pregnant. What am I most excited about? Blah, blah, blah. There's like actually a lot of really great stuff about breastfeeding, about dual citizenship, boogers, you name it. I'm saying it coming right up. So stay tuned for next week. And yeah, I'm sorry if this does not interest you at all, but if it does, thanks for listening. Bye.